Great. Thank you so much, Alish. Okay, so all those sessions where we have only one hit are known as bounce. Okay? So any session with only one hit is known as a bounce. So let's go ahead and see an example of it. Say I go to flipkart.com at 1 p.m. Flipkart.com page A at 1 p.m. Now I go to flipkart.com page B at 1:10 p.m. Now I go to flipkart.com page C at 2 p.m. I go to flipkart.com page D at 3 p.m. and now I go to flipkart.com page E at 3:10 p.m. Okay. Do you all see this data? Alright, so what you need to do is you have to tell me how many hits and how many sessions do you see over here. 5 hits, absolutely right. 5 hits. And how many sessions? 4 sessions. 3 sessions, okay? 2 sessions, 3 sessions, 5 and 3. Manikant, Ashwini, what do you guys think? Yojana, Arvind? Absolutely right. 3 sessions, everyone. 5 hits and 3 sessions. Makes sense to everyone? Anyone who has a different idea? Anyone who's not clear with it? 5 hits and 3 sessions. Sure, Stephen. So, okay, what are the 3 conditions for a session to expire? 30 minutes of continuous inactivity after midnight and when the source is changed. Absolutely right. So what is the inactivity period over here? Between first hit and second hit, what is the inactivity period over here? 10 minutes. Absolutely right. What is the inactivity period over here? Between second and third hit? 50 minutes. Yes. What is the inactivity period between third hit and the fourth hit? 1 hour. Absolutely right. So 60 minutes. What is the inactivity period between fourth hit and fifth hit? Again 10 minutes. Super. So what I can say is that this is how I can go ahead and break it. So these are the 3 sessions, right? Right, everyone? So these are my 3 sessions. Session number 1, session number 2, and session number 3. So how many sessions with only one hit? Absolutely right. 1 session with only one hit. Hence, my bounces are only 1. Make sense to everyone? Now, what is bounce rate? Bounce rate is bounces divided by session multiplied by 100 is equal to 1 divided by 3 multiplied by 100 in this case, which should be 33.33%. Does it make sense to everyone? Clear to all? Aksha, Pooja, Prashant, Shailesh, Supriya, clear? Super. Now tell me, Shorina, So Reena, bounces is equal to 1. Is that clear to you, Reena? Okay. Tell me something. Are you clear with 5 hits in 3 sessions? This thing makes sense to you? So that there are 5 hits in 3 sessions? Okay. So bounce is nothing but any session with only one hit is known as a bounce. Okay, Reena? Tell me how many hits do you see in session number 1? How many hits do you see in session number 1? 2. Absolutely fantastic. Now, how many hits in session number 2? 1. Now, how many hits in session number 3? How many sessions with only one hit do you see? So, one session, right? So, hence one bounce. And bounce rate is nothing but bounces divided by sessions in 200. So, which means 1 divided by 3 in 200, which is equal to 33.33. Make sense to you? Super. Now, high bounce rate, is it good for you or bad for you? Is it good or bad for the website? It's horrible for the website. Think about it this way. What is a bounce? Bounce is like you enter into a store, you look at the store, and you somehow feel that this is not the right place that you have come to, and you just go back because you don't interact with with any product. You don't go and look into any product. You don't go ahead and ask for any product. You don't look at any prices. You don't look at any product details. You just enter the store and you just come back, right? Window shopping, great Shailesh, great example, but it's not relevant in this case because how many of you, tell me, how many of you have done window shopping? You have, Saurabh? Great. So I have done a lot of window shopping. When I was trying to go and buy my car, so 3 months ago, 3 months before actually buying my car, I started window shopping. Before actually going ahead and having serious shopping, I for a month I did this window shopping thing, right? Now, tell me something. When you are window shopping, do you ask for price of the product? Do you ask for the price of the product? Do you look into different kinds of product available? Even though you are not talking to the sales executive, you're still looking into the products, right? Yes, you're definitely at least giving a glance, right? So you are actually interacting with the product, right? But what bounce means is that I open flipkart.com, not necessarily homepage, but any page I go to. I just open flipkart.com. I look at this page, okay? So I see all these things. I look at this page and I just close it or I just do not continue my session. When does it happen? Has it ever happened with you that you enter into a store and as soon as you enter into a store, you think, you have come to a wrong place and you just turn back? Whenever you go ahead and enter into a store which is not relevant to you, when you have sometimes it has happened with mistake, right? We enter into a store and we realize, oh, this is a wrong store. For example, it happened with me when I entered Louis Vuitton store. As soon as I entered that store in one of the airports, I believe, at that very moment I realized, this is not me. And I just turned around and went back. I did not even look into any product. I did not even look into any price. I then and there I knew that this is a wrong showroom for me. So bounce more often than not means that you are getting wrong customer base. or you are getting irrelevant customer base. Make sense to all of you? Absolutely right, Yojana. Time spent is not considered to go and declare it as a bounce. Bounces are just those sessions with only one hit. Even if they go ahead and stay on the page for 15 to 20 minutes, it still would be a bounce. Now, one very good example of that is, let's say I go ahead and search for, let's say, Indian history. I search for Indian history article on Wikipedia. I go sort of, now this is very, very important for you to understand. And I know that you will go ahead and give me the answer to this question that you asked. So, okay, so I'm on this page, okay, Indian history page. Now, this is a very long page, okay, and I keep on reading it. I'm not clicking on any of these links, okay. I'm just reading this article and I am taking notes. Just reading this article and taking these notes. Now, somewhere, now for 45 minutes, I kept on reading this article. It took me 45 minutes to go and read this complete article. So, guys, tell me, would it be a bounce or not? Would it be a, would my session expire when I'm reading this, while I'm reading this article or not? Think about it. Even if I'm scrolling, it would still be in activity, Pooja. Think about it, how Google comes to know that you are still active. When you send a hit, when you send an image request, right? Absolutely. When you actually click, if you don't click on something, Google will never come to know that you are still active. So session would expire while we are scrolling down. Does it make sense to everyone? Therefore, this is the reason why whenever you go and write this big of an article, which might take people more than 20 minutes to read, more than 30 minutes to read, you try to give all these kind of links over here. Do you see all these links? These links are given so that people can continue clicking somewhere and they can go and be active on the website. Does it make sense to all? And fortunately, we have a mathematics professor in our class. So, Ashwini, you tell me out of your experience, how many students are able to go ahead and sit in your class without doing anything, without taking notes or with just listening intently? Arvind, sorry. Arvind, I'm sorry about it. So, how many students actually in your class can keep on taking notes? I mean, we keep on sitting in the class without doing anything. Do you have a lot of students like that? 10%? All? I don't know what you guys are doing, but I know that while listening to me, either you guys are eating something or in the middle you are checking your mobile phones or you are writing something. You are doing something, right? You are not just listening to me. Is there anyone who is just listening to me? Who's not doing anything else? Who's not eating? Who's not drinking? Just intently listening to me? Oh, I'm so very lucky. So more often than not, it doesn't really happen. People have this inherent thing that they will keep on doing something. And if we go and write a very long article, there's a huge probability that I'm going to lose their interest. So this is why it is always recommended that do not go and put a very long article. If you have a very long article, have links into it so that people can actually still be active. Yes, it causes a fatigue. Arvind, do you do that in your sessions as well? When you actually have a quiz after every 30 minutes or so, you ask questions so that people actually respond to you and they are again active in your class. Do you do that as well in your sessions? So
Yeah,
these
I ask questions. Yeah, I do ask questions.
Thank you so much, Arvind. See again, so these are the techniques. So digital world is nothing but we are trying to go ahead and recreate the experience of real world, the physical world on digital platforms. So these are the techniques that we'll have to go ahead and implement on digital world as well. Now this will go ahead and bring a very important question in your mind. So Kunal, it's okay about Wikipedia articles and all these blogs and all these things. But tell me what about Netflix, where people can actually go ahead and see a movie for 2 hours and then they will not click on anything, right? So which means my session would expire while people are watching movies, right? If my session would expire while people are watching movie, it means that there is a huge probability that bounce rate would be very high, which means my data will be inaccurate because people are actually engaged with my platform, they are watching movies, and I'm saying that their session has expired. So for this reason, Google Analytics goes ahead and provides an option to go ahead and change the session timeout duration. So I hope all of you can see this admin console on my screen where there are three pillars: account, property, and views. You all see it? Okay, so this is like admin console. This is the place where we can actually go ahead and make some configurational changes within Google Analytics. So what happens is that Google Analytics PA has four pillars. What are these pillars? These pillars are data collection, something that we have already read about, already talked about, that how Google Analytics actually collects data by putting the code and making hits. Second is data processing. Now, data processing is a black box to us because Google never shares its algorithms with us. But what Google does is that it provides us a configuration panel. Do you guys remember back in the day there were video game parlors? I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I used to go and steal money from my home. You know, in every Indian home, there is a very small temple where our parents go and put 5 rupees, 10 rupees, 1 rupee coins, and all these kind of things. So I used to steal money from there, which kind of explains why I flunked, why my scores were so low in my school. That was like my divine retribution and all that. So, anyways, I used to steal money and used to play those games. And on those games, there used to be lever to and buttons to jump and fire and lever to go and move your player, right? So similarly, this Google Analytics admin console is also providing a certain button, certain levers that we can actually influence the data processing a bit. We cannot change it altogether, but we can influence it. And then final pillar is data reporting. So reports, we will start going ahead and looking into it in a while. But this is the configuration panel or the admin console where we can make certain changes in the data processing of Google Analytics. So Google actually provides us a capability within tracking info and session settings where we can actually go ahead and change the session timeout duration. It's still loading. My screen is still loading. Give it a minute. So let me know once you can see this session timeout drop down buttons. Great. So what I can do is I can actually go ahead and change my session timeout duration from 30 minutes to 1 hour 30 minutes, 1 hour 2 minutes, 2 hour 50 minutes, or whatever I want. So if you are having a content website, a video website where people might not click on something for more than 2 hours or more than 3 hours, in that case you can actually go ahead and adjust the session timeout duration from here. Make sense to all? Super. So
Yes, true, Ashwin. Ashwini. Again, there are a lot of people who can actually pause on video, who can skip intro and all that. But then there are a lot of people like me who just wants to go ahead and watch the movie in one go itself. We do not even I don't even let even my babies enter my room. I tell them to go and stay out, either at their grandparents' room or go out with your mom, but do not get into my room when I'm watching a movie. Yes, you can do it on YouTube as well. So any content website, if you are having a content website where people might not do something, they might just watch your content or read your content for more than 45 minutes, 50 minutes, 1 hour, you think, then go ahead and change the session timeout duration to 1 hour, 30 minutes. Yojana bounce rate calculation would remain the same. One hit in a session means that would be a bounce. So your session might expire after 60 minutes of inactivity. Even then, the bounce rate calculation would remain the same. One hit in a session would be a bounce. Make sense, Yojana? And in fact, you don't have to calculate anything. Google Analytics will do it for you. So let me go ahead and show this to you. Do you all see data on my screen? So this is how the data actually looks like. So it tells me that in last 1 week or so, I've got around 2,300 sessions. I've got around 2,000 users. I've got around 4,600 odd page views. My pages per session is around 2. My average session duration is 1 minute 40 seconds. And look at my bounce rate. It's phenomenally high. Do you all see it? 70%. So what it means is that 70% of times people just leave within one hit itself. Make sense to all? How many pages of my website people see? That is a page view. Whenever people see a page on my website, that would be a page view. Make sense, Rahul? Yes, page view is equal to hits. It's both things, Pooja. If you want to go ahead and have people see more and more of your pages, you would want to go ahead and see. You would want to go ahead and see more page views and more time spent. Yes, absolutely right, Rahul. Yes, Rahul. Guys, give me just 1 minute, okay? Give me just 1 minute. I have to go and check one thing real quick. Give me 1 minute, Rahul.
Yes, that means number of new sessions out of the total sessions. Give me just 1 minute, guys. I believe that there is some issue with my website. Okay, give me just a minute. I'm done, I believe. Okay, so new sessions means that percentage of times there had been first time visits on my website. So what I can see is that 84% of times people are coming for the first time on my website, whereas 15% of time that they repeat. So what it means is that my repeat value, my recall value of my website is not very high. Make sense to all? Okay. Um, right. So let's go ahead and do a small example before we actually go and proceed any further. Bounce rate is there by itself actually, so you don't really have to go and calculate. It has already calculated it for you. See, 70% of bounce rate. Make sense, Ashwini? So let me know that all of you can read this case study over here. Okay. Go through this case study and let me know once you guys have read it. Thanks, Shailesh. About others? Done? Okay, let me just go ahead and scroll down a little so that you guys can go ahead and read the question that I'm having. Let me just go ahead and copy it from here and paste it in my notepad. All right, let me know once you guys have read this question. So take care, Amit. Bye. All right, so all of you have read it. Great. So please tell me the business question over here. What is the business question over here? What is the business problem over here? Whether tech move will impact growth. What is the business problem do you see over here? Revenue growth is a problem, right? Revenue growth is a problem over here, right? As I'm right over here. So revenue growth is a problem. And what is your problem statement over here? What is your problem statement over here? Absolutely. We have to identify whether this will help us or not. Whether this new idea would actually help us or not, right? So let's just go ahead and look into data. Give me just 1 minute and I will show you the data, okay? Do you all see this data on my screen? Sorry, let me just go and refine it a bit. All right, do you all see this data on my screen? Okay, let me try to go ahead and explain this data to you, and then you can probably go ahead and take the action on it, okay? So I've got around 7,068 sessions on my blog for Chrome from Chrome, whereas in total I've got around 10,131 sessions on my blog, okay? Out of these 10,000 sessions, 68% has been new sessions, and around 7,000 has been new users on my blog. So in a way, 7,000 users gave me 10,000 sessions. Make sense to everyone? Out of those 7,000 users, around 5,000 are coming from Chrome, whereas around 128 are coming from IE, Internet Explorer. Do you all see this? Great. Total bounce rate on my website is around 52.61%. From Chrome, I'm having little higher than, in fact, higher than 20% higher than my overall bounce rate at around 63%. Whereas from IE, my bounce rate is around 40.38%, around 20% lesser than average. My pages per session on my blog are 2.05. From Chrome, it's little less than 2, whereas from IE, it's around 2.56, which is much higher than on my on average on my blog. On average, people spend around 2 minutes on my blog. From Chrome, when users use Chrome browser, they spend little less than 2 minutes, little less than average. Whereas from IE, people actually spend more time than average, around 2 minutes 24 seconds. Conversion rate from my blog overall is 34.81. From Chrome, it's 37.14, whereas from IE, it's around 48.56. And you see that this is the money that I'm making from my blog, around $221,000. Around 78% of that money is coming from Chrome, and around 3% of it is coming from IE browsers. Does it make sense to all? And before we proceed any further, let me go ahead and clarify this thing right now, that this is not the money that I'm making from my blog. Had I been making this kind of a money from my blog, I mean, I love you all and I really respect you. I really like you all, but I wouldn't have been taking classes at 8 p.m. I mean, I might have been chilling out somewhere in a very fancy restaurant if I had been making this much of money from my blog itself. So this is all dummy data that has been created on my website so that we can actually go ahead and practice some of the questions. So when you go ahead and look into this kind of data, now again, let me go ahead and put the question over here. So what do you think I should do? Just go ahead and change the font a little so that you can probably. Right, so when you see this kind of data and then this kind of a problem, then what do you think we should do? Should we go ahead and update the blog or not? Rahul saying go ahead, update the blog. Yes, I users will not be able to the blog at all. So all those who are saying that yes, we should go ahead and update it. Do you all understand that we will go ahead and lose 3% of revenue? Currently, my growth is 5% per annum. If I go ahead and take out 3% from here itself, how would it impact me? So when your CEO asks you, what should I do? And you tell him that go ahead, put the update on. Don't worry about the IE users. His next question would be, so what do you mean is that I should go and let go of 3% of my revenue when my revenue growth is already a problem? Shailesh, how would you go and approach this problem? Reena, Bhanudas, Ashwini, Arvind, Almon, Aksha. Okay, yes. So the idea is that if my Chrome users can give me more than this 3% that I'm losing from IE, then it's a good call, right? So very true, Reena. So my bigger question is to go ahead and understand what could be the impact of revenue. If it is more than 3%, then I will go ahead and say yes, go and put the update on. If it's less than 3%, then I'll say no, do not put the update on, right? What can be the revenue impact if we go ahead and make this change? Okay. So that is my broader question. So to go ahead and solve a question like this, you need to go ahead and take help from your best friend. For a data analyst, who's your best friend? As a data analyst, your best friend would always be Microsoft Excel. And she's going to go and help you out in answering all such questions. All right, everyone, let's go ahead and look into that, how Excel will go ahead and help us out. But before we go ahead and take help from Excel, let's go ahead and create some hypothesis. Well, guys can't be as helpful as Excel is, so I know that it has to be hard. So whenever we are going ahead and solving any such question, let's go ahead and understand what would be the impact. When I go ahead and say that Chrome users would have fantastic experience, or their user experience would be much more enhanced. Tell me what KPIs would be impacted. Do you all understand what is the meaning of a KPI? Key performance indicators. Yes, absolutely right. What is a key performance indicator? Do you all understand the meaning of a key performance indicator? Shyam, Stephen, Supriya, Yojana, Bhanudas. Not just revenue, Shyam. So think about it this way. So if I have to go ahead and tell you about myself, there are a lot of metrics associated with me as a person. So Kunal Mehta has a lot of metrics associated with him. For example, I have an age, 35. I have weight, 72. I have height, 5 feet 10 inch. I have salary, some XXX amount. I have a designation, lead, and then I have my blood pressure, 72 by 120. I have my sugar level, 99. I have my marks in class 10th, 75%. Marks in class 12th, 72%. Marks in BTech, 70%. And then marks in MBA, 8.7 GPA, right? There are a lot of metrics associated with me. What are my KPIs? Shalish, Shyam, Rahul, tell me what are my KPIs? Who's gonna tell me what are my KPIs? Then I have my experience and so on and so forth. Supriya, what would be my KPIs? Shalish, results, okay. My professional scores, okay. So KPI would completely depend upon what kind of a question am I having. So if I am going ahead and buying a term insurance, absolutely right, Shailesh. My KPI would be my BP, my sugar, my height, my weight. Go ahead and calculate my BMI index and all that. Absolutely. So this is completely objective based. Whereas when I'm getting hired, my KPIs would be my experience. It would be my salary, my marks. So depending upon the kind of question that people are asking, my KPIs would differ. I might be having a hell lot of metrics. I might be having hundreds of metrics. I might be having hundreds of numbers associated with me, but my KPIs will completely depend upon the objective. Make sense to everyone? Stephen, Manisha, Ashwini, Arvind, Claire, Yojana. Great. So depending upon my question, my KPIs would change. So when I go ahead and say that my Chrome users would have fantastic experience, so their user experience would be much more enhanced. What KPIs would be impacted over here? So when you see on your screen, there are a lot of KPIs, right? What KPIs would be impacted when I go ahead and say that Chrome users would have fantastic experience? As I'm right over here, what KPIs would be impacted from the list that you see over here when I say that my user experience would be enhanced? Would there be any impact on sessions? See, the major KPIs that would be impacted would be average time spent. If you are really enjoying at some website, if your experience is enhanced at a website, your average time spent would be more, right? Guys, yes, no, maybe. Your pages per session would increase. Similarly, your repeat sessions would increase. which means the number of sessions would increase, total number of sessions would increase because repeat sessions would increase, right? Now, bounce rate should go down. So even if there is no impact on revenue, there still would be a few KPIs that would be impacted. Make sense to everyone? So let's go ahead and make an assumption that there would be only one impact that would be only on my average time spent. This would improve by 15%. Rest everything would remain the same. Can we make an assumption like this? That everything else remains the same, only impact would be on average session duration. It will increase by 15%. Arvind, can we make this assumption? Ashwini, Aksha, Bhavna, Bhanudas, can we go ahead and make this assumption? All right. So let's go ahead and take help from Excel now. Let's go ahead and say there would be an increment of 15%. Now let's go ahead and start putting numbers over here. So this is browser. This is my sessions. This is average time spent. This is total time. This is revenue. This is revenue per second. This is again browser session. Average time. Total time. Revenue. Sorry. Revenue per second. And this is revenue. All right. Let's go ahead and put this thing over here. Now this is Chrome and this is IE. From Chrome, I got around 7,668 sessions. Average time spent from Chrome is around 1 minute 56 seconds, which comes out to be around 1 minute 116 seconds. So total time spent would be 116 total sessions. Revenue that is given from Chrome is 173,219. Revenue per second comes out to be this divided by total time spent. Does it make sense to everyone? So Rahul, what I'm doing over here is I'm just putting these. I'm assuming that my session duration would increase by 15%. So once I go ahead and enhance my user experience for Chrome users, so my Chrome users will go ahead and spend 15% more time on my blog. So what I'm doing right now is I'm putting the current numbers. So for now, I'm getting 7,000 sessions from Chrome, 116 seconds that they are spending on my website. Total time spent would be this much, average into total. Revenue, this is the revenue that I'm making from Chrome. So revenue per second comes out to be revenue divided by total time spent. Similarly, I can go ahead and do it for IE as well. 208 sessions. Average time spent is 2 minutes 24 seconds, which turns out to be 144 seconds. Yes, 15% is an assumption, Rahul. Total time would be this much. Revenue I already do have from Chrome, from IE. It's around $7,001. And revenue per second would be around 23 cents. So as you guys can see that my Chrome is actually giving, my IE is actually giving me higher revenue per second than Chrome. But if I go ahead and put my update on, how many sessions would I get from IE? Zero, right? Because after update, my IE users will not be supported anymore. Aksha, Shant, Pooja, make sense? My users will not be supported anymore. Everything else remains the same. So what it means is I will still get this much of session. My average time would now be 15% more than what I was getting earlier. So it would become this plus 15% of 116. So my new average time would be 133.4. So my total time spent would be this into, so this would be my total time spent. My revenue per second I've already calculated. So my new revenue would be this into total time spent around this much. My total revenue earlier was 7,001 plus 173. Now my total revenue would be 0 plus 199. Yes, ma'am. So my gain would be 199 minus 180. My gain percentage would be around 10%. Does it make sense to all what we have just done? So if I go ahead and put the update on, forget about taking care of 3% of revenue. In fact, my revenue can increase by 11%. Absolutely right, Ashmi. Does it make sense to everyone? Does it give you an idea about what web analytics is all about? To go ahead and get concrete data and then take decision on that concrete data. Don't just go by your hunch, but actually have numbers to go and back your hunch. Does it make sense to everyone? Pooja, Rahul, Reena, Yojana. Yeah, I wish it was as amazing, but it's very tiring as well, Pratik. You'll see that. So this is exactly what we are trying to do through web analytics. Arvind, make sense? Bhanudas, Bhavna, Rahul, Reena. So this is the question that you can always go and put up to your CTO now, Ashwini. Now your CTO says, you know what, I believe Ashwini that 15% is too high. Maybe it would be around 8%. You say, okay, if we go ahead and increase the time by 8%, our revenue can still go and increase by 4%. If we can actually go ahead and increase time by 3%, my revenue will actually go down by 1%. But if your CTO says, oh, you know what, forget about 15%, my average session duration will increase by 20%, then my revenue can actually go and improve by 15%. So again, yes, there are assumptions, but there would be some benchmarks available to you. So what you can do is you can actually test it out. You can roll out the new design in production and wait out for 3 or 4 weeks and see if the changes are actually helping you or not. If they are meeting the benchmark, you can keep them. If they are not, you can always go and abandon them. But it's still better than having a hunch than moving into a production. Make sense to everyone? And we will go ahead and do that as well, Pooja, to go ahead and create a forecast. So towards the end of the 4 sessions, we are trying to go ahead and get into the space of predictive analytics, where we will go ahead and try to see how linear regression models work. So that is something that is on my radar. Don't worry about it, Pooja. I mean, if you don't like maths, then you are going to hate me, because I'm going to make sure that we do some engineering level of mathematics, if not all, at least some bit part of it. Does it make sense to everyone what we have just done over here? So I'm going to go ahead and put this Excel sheet on our drive as well, so that you guys can refer to it in future whenever you are going through the recording once again, so that you guys can have an idea of what we did. Okay, so the whole idea of web analytics is to go ahead and come out with these kind of insights. Why to wait for your CTO? Why don't you go ahead and create a plan and move to your CTO? You know what, sir? Jay, we need to go ahead and make sure that my Chrome users can spend 10% of more time on my website. If they do that, we can actually go ahead and increase our revenue by 6%. So you should go ahead and come up with these kind of plans by looking into numbers, and you should go ahead and tell your bosses about it, tell your CTOs and C-suite level executives about it. All right. So let's proceed further. So these are the kind of questions that we will go ahead and do in our session. So there are somewhere around 5 or 6 questions that you'll have to work on. I will also go ahead and put this case study on the shared drive so that all of us can actually go and refer to it and work on these questions as we are moving along our session. Okay, now let's go ahead and talk about the hierarchy within Google Analytics. And that will kind of end our theoretical sessions. And then we will go ahead and more from next session, we can go ahead and move more into the practical aspects of Google Analytics. So hierarchy within Google Analytics. What is the hierarchy within Google Analytics? So Google Analytics provides us 3 levels of hierarchy, that is account, property, and view. Make sense? Okay. So what is an account? Account is always created at the level of the organization. So let's say I'm the owner of Dell Computers, and Dell Computers is having 6 platforms to help its customers. There is a website, then there is a mobile site, then there is a mobile app, then there is a forum, then there's a blog, and then there is a support site. Now, function of a website, mobile site, and mobile app. These 3 things is to go ahead and sell Dell products and services. All right, everyone. Purpose of these 3 platforms, website, mobile site, and mobile apps, is to go ahead and sell my products and services. Dell products and services. Whereas forum is so that people, Dell owners, Dell product owners can come together and discuss about their problems, their solutions, their good things and bad things together. So forum is so that people can go and come together and discuss. Dell product owners. Now blog is used by my organization to share our news items with the larger public. What Dell is working on, what are the new things that we are going to launch, what are the new services that we are going to go and launch. So all this is done through blogs. And support site is a platform from where people can actually go and download brochures and manuals and drivers. Make sense to everyone? So 6 different platforms to go and help users. So what Dell should do is, Dell should create a property, one property for website, mobile site, and mobile app. Make sense to all? Because their purpose is same. Their objective is to go ahead and sell Dell products and services. Make sense to everyone? Yes, Ashwini. So the idea over here is, if you think about it, do you think that my customer behavior would remain the same on all these 6 platforms? My customer behavior would be very different on each of these platforms, right? So on platforms where my customer behavior is going to be similar, I'm going to go and put them under one property. Make sense? Now one property for forum, one property for blogs, and one property for support site. Make sense to all? And now one more property for testing. Whenever we go and introduce any new changes, it has to be done in the testing property. If everything goes fine, then only we roll out in production. Make sense, everyone? All right. Now, what about views? Views are created for different teams. Now, see, Dell has a presence all across the globe, right? They are in India, they are in US, they are in UK, they are in Australia, they are all across the globe, right? Now, you can go ahead and create views for different geographies and different teams. Because think about it this way, that marketing deals with people and their behavior. And behavior of a person is nothing but sum total of their socio cultural economic backgrounds. How people of US are going to behave is going to be very different from how people of Australia is going to behave, right? Arvind, Aksha, makes sense, right? People from different geographies are going to behave very differently. Just to go ahead and give you a very small and a very sad example. So during 1960s, Central African regions had a huge drought. And the biggest victim of that drought were little babies. Now, uh, because they of course cannot go and take care of themselves and their parents are already suffering. So there were a lot of little babies who were dying at that point of time. So UNICEF decided to go and step in and they started shipping a lot of baby food items to African camps, African relief camps. But to their horror, they were surprised, they were shocked to go and find that even though people are coming to these camps, they are not taking baby food items from the shelves. So their babies are dying right in their arms, but they are still not taking baby food items from the shelves. They were trying to figure out what exactly is going on, why people are not taking baby food items from the shelves. And they went back to their different teams to realize that in Central African regions at that time, there was huge illiteracy problem as well. So all these organizations came together to go ahead and create a convention, an unsaid, unwritten rule that whatever you are selling inside a package, you will have a photograph of the same product on the package. So what it means is that if you are selling candles, there would be a photograph of candles on the package. If you are selling batteries, there would be photographs of all the batteries on the package. If you are selling a soap, there would be a photograph of soap on the package. Now tell me, what photograph do you see on the package of baby food item? Any guesses? Absolutely right, Ashwini. Babies. You see photograph of a baby on the baby food item box, right? And those poor souls thought that there are babies inside these boxes. And now, while they cannot go and take care of their own baby, how can they go and take care of one more baby inside a box? So that is why they were not taking these baby food item boxes from the shelves. So what I'm trying to say is that people's behaviors differ so very much just due to geographical and boundaries, due to demography and all that. That's very important for us to go ahead and keep them segregated so that we can analyze them better. If we go ahead and mix data of US and Australia and UK and India together, it becomes very difficult to go ahead and analyze how people are behaving. Therefore, we try to go ahead and put them in different boxes altogether. Does it make sense to all? Super. So what we try to do is we try to create views for different teams and different jobs. Any question over here, guys? Rahul, Pooja, Pratik, Prashant, any question? Manikant, Manisha, super. Now let's go ahead and understand how many views and how many accounts do we get. So one Google account gives you a power to go ahead and create 100 account, the Google Analytics account. One Google account gives you a power to create 100 Google Analytics accounts. Within one GA account, you can create 50 properties. Okay? Within one property, you can create 25 views. Make sense, everyone? One Google account gives you 100 Google Analytics accounts. One Google Analytics account gives you 50 properties. Within within one property, you can create 25 views. So this is how much Google Analytics can go ahead and provide you. And within any question over here, guys? All right. So what I'm thinking right now is that we can end our session over here itself, because to go ahead and if I go ahead and initiate any more topic, it will go ahead and take us around 15-20 minutes to go ahead and discuss. So we can end our session today here itself. Would that be fine, everyone? Great. Let me go ahead and share the feedback link with all of you, which is very important for me. I bet it's going to be as important for you as well. If you can please tell me how it was, how it went, what worked, what did not work. In the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and save our notes in our shared drive. All of you do have the shared drive link, right? No? Okay, Rahul, I will go ahead and give you that. So what we discussed in last 5 minutes is we discussed what is account, property, and view. Did you go through this? What is account, property, and view? I'm sorry, I don't get your name. It's saying waiting for name, not view. Okay, so views are created for different teams and different geographies. It's important for us to go ahead and analyze data for different geographies and different containers, because else it's become very difficult. If I go ahead and mix data from US, from Australia, from UK and India together, it becomes very difficult to analyze. So we try to go ahead and create different views for different regions so that it's little easier for us to go and analyze how people of one particular region are behaving. Make sense, Pooja? Great. So what Google Analytics does is that within one Google account, we can create through one Google account, through your one Gmail ID, you can create 100 Google Analytics accounts. Within each of the Google Analytics account, you can create 50 properties. Within each of the property, you can create 25 views. Make sense, Pooja? Yeah, so Google gives a lot of things and all this for free of cost. Okay, ours is Tuesday, May 29. So let me go ahead and add my file over here. No worries, Pooja. Yes, they are, Rina, and we will go ahead and talk about in our next session how we can add more users. And I will actually go ahead and add all of you as user on my Google Analytics account so that you can actually go and see it how we do it. And this is a good question, Rahul. But think about it. An organization which is having so much of data, think about what they can do. Thank you so much. I believe I sent you an email, Arvind. Let me just go ahead and see it right away. Uh, I think I sent you the email. Arvind, check once again, okay? I'm sending the link once again, and let me go ahead and send across the Google and shared folder link to everyone. Sorry, this is not it. This is the link for the drive, everyone. All right, guys, thank you so much. I really appreciate uh, your effort and you all coming in at 8 p.m. really late at night. I really thank you so much for that. And we'll see you next Tuesday, okay? Good night, Pratik. Take care, man. Thank you so much, Rina. Bye, Rahul. Thank you so much, Pooja. Goodbye. Thank you so much, Ram. Take care. Good night, Shailesh. Thank you, Saurabh. Goodbye. Bye, everyone. Take care.